This is the Detroit Sports Podcast Network.
All right, before we get started with this week's episode of Wrestling Perspective, Petey Williams and myself, we want to talk about Blue Chew. Petey, Blue Chew, it's WrestleMania weekend. What better way to get amped up every day this week than take your Blue Chew?
Ooh, how's she going, eh? I mean, Blue Chew. I mean, what more can you say about Blue Chew on WrestleMania weekend, the biggest weekend of the entire wrestling year? I mean, this has Blue Chew written all over it.
For our audience, there we go. For our audience only, if you go to BlueChew.com, use a promo code Perspective, we will send you a free shipment. All you have to do is pay $5 for shipping and handling, because let's be honest, Petey isn't driving it to your house. I'm not driving it to your house, so it has to get there somehow.
Yeah, I mean, and we can't Uber it to your house or anything like that, Lyft, whatever the case may be. $5 shipping and handling. That's cheaper than an Uber or Lyft. So, yeah, free on us.
Let me ask you something. What does one of your T-shirts cost?
Oh, it depends if it's a front and back one, but anywhere from $20 to $25.
What does one of your autographed pictures cost?
$10 minimum.
So Blue Chew is cheaper than any merch most people will get at any wrestling show anywhere, right?
I would definitely say yes.
Especially WrestleMania weekend when wrestlers kind of hike the price up just a little bit. Blue Chew will always stay the same for you, our fans.
I mean, man, okay, so yeah, $10 for an autograph. WrestleMania weekend, you're looking at like $20, maybe like $30 for a shirt. WrestleMania weekend, if anything, Blue Chew's going to stay the same, if not discounted. Hence, free. I mean, it's free pretty much. You just got to pay shipping and handling.
Yeah, easily. It's made from the same active ingredients as Viagra and Cialis, so you know it works. It's chewable, so it works faster than the two pills. Made in the USA, which means it's cheaper, and you get to do it online, which means no awkward doctor visits, and it comes in a discreet package so your neighbor's not like, oh, I know what he's doing tonight.
And then going to the doctors and you're like, yeah, and especially when you're young, but you just want to have fun with your girl or whoever you want to have fun with. And the doctor's like, no, you don't need that. I'm not prescribing you that. Well, you don't have to worry about the doctor now because you can just order it online.
And I'll be honest with you. You hit the nail on the head as we wrap up this live read. Young. If you're young and you hear this and you're like, I don't need Blue Chew. Listen, man, first of all, I don't care what you do with it, but order it from us. Second of all, if you do order it from us and you get it, try it out. You may not need it, but it's like, you know what? If Shawn Michaels doesn't need Blue Chew, but if Shawn Michaels took it during WrestleMania, it just enhances his Mr. WrestleMania performance.
It's like a performance enhancement drug. Like, why not get the edge on all the competition? Just like guys in any organization or anything like that. They take the creatine, performance enhancement drugs. You're going to be on top of your game and you're going to perform better than everybody else.
So if you definitely want to show out for your husband, your wife, your significant other, I don't care who it is, just do it. It helps us out a ton. And also, for at least this week only, our very special advertiser is Pancakes and Pile Drivers from, let me tell you something. WrestleCon weekend, if you're going to New York, you're listening to this 2019, you want to go to this event. It's Saturday, April 6th, Wrestle Revolver, Pancakes and Pile Drivers 3. It's affordable. It's fun. Listen, if you're going to NXT and you're like, what am I going to do in the afternoon? You're going to eat breakfast anyways, right? So you might as well eat breakfast, pancakes, and watch some great wrestling, Pete.
Yeah, 11 a.m. I think it's at 11 a.m. Wrestling Revolver, and then I mean, there's so many people advertise for the show. I don't even know where to start, but I mean, you can watch that before, and that's what it's going to be. This whole weekend, it's always been all about wrestling. It starts Friday, goes all on the Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. It's like a big long weekend of wrestling. So why not involve Wrestling Revolver with that?
Sami Callihan's promotion. So if you love Sami Callihan, who has been amazing to you and I. We'll talk more about Sami during the show when we talk about this past tapings, but go there, check it out. Don Callis will be there, David Starr, Brian Cage will be there, the Lucha Brothers will be there, the Rascals, LAX will be there. I mean, there are so many people here that let's see, Falabala will be there, Fatu will be there. Man, I'm reading Ace Austin, which is part of the Rascals. Tessa Blanchard will be there. And I don't know if this is true or not, but it looks like Matt Cross might also be there too.
Yeah, Matt Cross. I've had a few good matches with that guy. I mean, I'm surprised we didn't wrestle each other until later on in our career. But Matt Cross, I remember I wanted to do a storyline with him one time because everybody thought that myself and Matt Cross had a kind of like the same build at one time. But then he grew this big long beard and stuff like that. We didn't look alike. But yeah, Matt Cross, one of my favorite guys to be in the ring with.
So there you go, Pancakes and Pile Drivers 3. Google it, go to WrestleRevolver.com. But go there. And when you go there, tell him you heard us there so he knows that, look, it works. He's a friend of the show. He's a friend of ours. An amazing guy. Horrible at answering texts, but he's a really cool guy.
You know what? I don't even know if I have Sammy's number. So, I mean, you're one step ahead of me on that one.
You might, and you're waiting on a text probably from 2 years ago from him. So
that's probably exactly true. I probably texted him something like a long time ago, like, hey, who do you think is going to be the next president? And I'm still waiting on that or something like that.
Oh, absolutely. Hey, congratulations on signing with Impact for the first time. Crickets.
Yeah.
So
right.
If you're waiting on Sammy Callahan to text you back about free tickets, hold your breath because it ain't going to happen, buddy.
You know, and to tell you the truth, I don't even know if I've ever seen a cell phone in Sammy Callahan's hand. So, yeah, whatever, man.
I gotta be honest. I don't know if I know he has one. I've called him on it and talked to him, unless it's like his doppelganger. Anyways, you ready?
I'm ready.
It feels like it's been forever, but it is the wrestling perspective. I'm Dennis Farrell, and he's Petey Williams.
How's she going, eh? Again.
I'm trying to do the math here, but I don't know if we've done a show for 3 or 4 weeks now.
You know what? I think the last little bit, like last month anyways, or this month, the beginning of this month, I was coming over to your place, and we were doing stuff like on Periscope and doing it live and all that kind of stuff, and then the week before the tapings wasn't good. We got a lot of stuff recorded during the tapings, and then this week, it's kind of we didn't get one this week. If you're counting today, it's like the following week. So yeah, I mean, it's been a while.
I missed you, buddy.
Oh man, I missed you too, and I just saw you like last weekend. We spent the whole weekend together.
It was a blast. We will absolutely talk about that. I have a lot of questions, by the way, for you, and the first question comes from me. And really, Petey Williams, Impact Wrestling, murder on TV.
Yeah,
murder. You killed someone.
Yeah. So. The first time let's take it back a little bit to Bound for Glory, okay? I'm sitting in the truck, and it was right before that, I believe the heavyweight, Impact World Championship match against Austin Aries and Johnny Impact, that infamous one. And I'm sitting in the truck waiting for, my time, but then they have to play, obviously, the pre-taped Undead Realms segment where Allie goes in the Undead Realm. This is back in October. And I'm watching this, and I don't know, what is going to transpire. I'm watching it for the first time, just like everybody else. And then I see Su Yung, or no, I'm sorry. I see,
James Mitchell.
Allie? Yeah, no, I see Jim Mitchell. But Allie, takes an axe and, puts it in the neck of Su Yung. And I'm like, what? And then I was like, Rosemary's Big Return and stuff. And, Su Yung, I guess the axe didn't affect her because it's the Undead Realm, whatever the case may be. And I'm like, wait, did we just murder somebody on TV? So that was the first time that Impact's done that. And then now, writing Allie off of our show, she gets murdered with the Freddy Krueger knives, I guess. So it's tough. Like me being, you and I, Dennis, we grew up, stuff like this wasn't around. It was just wrestling. There were some vignettes and all that kind of stuff, but like murder and like all that kind of stuff. It's kind of newer to us. I think in the future, you know, we're going to have a lot more of this stuff. I know Lucha Underground's done a lot of this type of stuff before, like where it's very produced and like movie style and all that. I really think we're talking about this now, and it's just like 10 years from now, it's like there's going to be murder plots on TV. Like that's how they're just going to write off people off of, like Dean Ambrose, you know, leaving WWE. They would have already murdered him by now.
Wow. Well, I cannot wrap my head around it. I watched it. My jaw hit the floor because I didn't know what was coming. I didn't. You and I, we have a no spoiler between us. You don't. If there's a taping I can't go to, or I don't see some of the stuff that gets taped off site, you won't spoil it for me. I'm watching and I go, is she? Did they just kill her? Now I get that you have the loophole of undead, so let's say if Allie ever does come back, you can bring her back as maybe a zombie or something else. But holy cow, murder, Petey Williams, murder.
Yeah, murder's happening. But I mean, it's in the undead realm. Like I just mentioned, like Allie put an axe in Su Young's neck, and she's fine, right? She came back on her show and stuff like that, and she actually came back in the same skit, right? So the undead realm is just different, and I think that's why we're getting away with it. It's not like, you know, Allie just went home and she got murdered. It was like the undead realm, which is obviously a fictitious place where, you know, pretty much anything can happen. Like Kevin Sullivan is the devil, apparently. So, you know, I don't know if rules don't apply or whatever, but I just think it's something different that's outside the box. I still don't know if I'm okay with it. Not my cup of tea, but it's entertaining. Nonetheless, it's entertaining. I remember I know they filmed that in Vegas off-site, so not this Windsor tapings. Like, that's been filmed for a while and stuff. And I remember Jimmy talking about it and going through it, and just like, and I think I mentioned this on the podcast before. Like, I'm watching his passion about talking about it when right before they film it, and this is going to happen. He's going through it all, and I'm like, man, this is going to be really good. I can't wait to see it. And it's just good to see it come to life. Kind of like when you read a book and then you watch a movie and you're like, oh, that's how it was supposed to transpire.
Any legal ramifications, at least written into Impact TV for this? Because, you know, you've murdered someone on TV. There has to be some sort of, you know, kayfabe legal ramifications. Or if it's, no, it's all, and that's what like bugs me about wrestling. So, you know, it's so hard to say. Like, we know wrestling is predetermined. You know, it's a show. What?
Everybody knows that by now. Yeah, everybody knows that. Okay, it's predetermined. I don't like to use the word fake because I've been in the ring and it hurts. So when I hear fake, that means you don't hurt. Stunt doubles come in for you and take the bumps and all that kind of stuff. That not fake. Predetermined is the word I like to use. But like, you know, like for example, this last set of Impact tapings we had at Windsor, you know, at the venue we were at, you know, for whatever reason, you can't have like intergender wrestling is the big thing right now where guys are wrestling gals, and you know, it's awesome and people are loving it. Okay. Well, this last set of Windsor tapings, we couldn't have any man on woman violence, even though, you know, we know it's predetermined and it's a show. For whatever reason, that's not okay. So that's what kind of, you know, boggles my mind a little bit. Like, we could kill somebody on TV, it's okay because it's, you know, predetermined, it's fake, it's a show, you know. But oh, man on woman violence, like, okay, come on, guys, like let's be realistic about it. It's entertainment. At the end of the day, it's entertainment.
Well, Brian BQ wants to know, I'm curious if there was any hesitation to end the angle this way. Was this always the end game, or was there a scenario where Rosemary saves her, which we all expected?
You know, that I'm not sure. Because I know they do, when they write all the shows, they do it at Moore's Mansion there, and, you know, they have a pool party, all that kind of stuff. It's
which
a great time.
I've never been invited to the pool party.
I will have to invite you. You've been to Scott's, right?
I've been to Scott's once.
Okay.
once.
So yeah, okay, all right. So that's one more than most of the people listening right now,
He
or
wasn't
maybe
even
all
there.
the people listening.
Yeah,
so,
he wasn't even there.
But yeah, they do all the writing and stuff like that, and all that kind of stuff, and then they make any change to whatever the case may be. So I don't know what the end game plan was, or if they had one, or whatever the case may be. That I just know that Allie was leaving the company, and what do we do? Oh, let's kill her off, and. I'm okay with that. Like, Allie's not obviously really dead because she's tweeting and all that kind of stuff. And we all know, she signed with AEW, or at least that's what's being portrayed on, social media right now. I'm okay with that. I think they should probably kill off more people. I think it'd be more entertaining. It's like, oh, how's this person going to get killed off? Just like on soap operas and stuff like that. I love that. It's different than just, oh, this person's losing because he's on his way out. Okay.
All right, though that I'm not 100% on board with that, but I see what you're saying, and I think the only way it works is if you do something supernatural like this. If there's a wrestling match and Johnny Impact pulls out a knife and then fake stabs someone, it doesn't work.
No. I don't think that's okay. Like, if it's in the undead realm, I think it's a totally different thing because people know. It's not the actual world that we live in. It's the undead realm.
Okay. All right. Well, let's move on. We have a lot to talk about. This set of Impact tapings, I gotta say, was probably, from my point of view, one of the best as hanging out backstage. We talk and joke a lot about how more and more people are getting to know me, but
yeah,
I found myself not sitting alone a lot. People would come up and sit and talk. Like, Sammy walks by and was offended I didn't say hi to him. Like, because, I try to be respectful, and these guys are coming in, and the last thing they need to do is shake another hand or say hi another time, because there's that whole locker room protocol where you got to go up when you see someone and shake his hands. I think that's antiquated and stupid, by the way. We can talk about my views on that, but a little bit later. But he walks by and I'm like, oh, there's Sammy. I'll say hi to him later. It's like, hey, you're not gonna say hi to me? I'm like, oh man, I didn't want to bug you, and that made me feel kind of cool. And I gotta say something, Chris Sabin. This was the longest I got to spend with him. That guy is like undercover funny. One of the funniest guys I know. The drive home from the last set of tapings was the most fun I've had in the car with you and another wrestler ever.
Yeah, and that's how Sabin is. Like, I think you hit the nail on the head when you said undercover funny. Like, sometimes you're like, oh, he's not a funny guy, but he hits these one-liners sometimes they're just hilarious. And it was really good. I don't know if you could tell, Dennis, but, Sanjay was gone, and you could tell.
Yes.
Obviously, Sanjay's my friend, but now Sabin's there, and obviously Sabin's one of my good buddies, and just being there with them, getting to, and the cat's already out of the bag. Like, obviously he was an agent and stuff, working for us, and it was so cool. Like, I started in the business with him so many years ago, and then where he's never agented before, like, or produced, and I was like, yeah, I'll show you the ropes and all that kind of stuff, and I showed him how it all works with the camera angles and all that kind of stuff. And what was funny was, he had one of the first matches, like the first explosion match on the show. And you remember Lance Storm was there also as an agent. You remember that?
Yes, I was there.
Okay. So Lance, unbeknownst to me, he's never produced or agented as either. This was his first time. So somebody said to him, and I didn't know this, so I made sure I took, Sabin under my wing. I'm like, this is how you do things. This is what, the director needs to know, blah, 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 blah. I didn't know Lance has never done that before, right? Or hasn't done that before. And I go in the truck, and then I get Sabin all set up, and then he does the first match. I think Lance has the second match, and Lance goes in there, and Sabin's telling me this, and he says, Lance is asking him questions, and Sabin goes, I don't know. I've never done this before. And Lance goes, I haven't done this before either. They just said, go watch the person in front of you and figure it out. And like, they were like blind leading the blind. Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, but I went in there for Sabin. I'm like, this is how you do a commercial break, all that kind of stuff, and so on and so forth. But he caught on quick. One of his matches that he produced, it was what we call an enhancement match, right? Josh Alexander and Ethan Page, they're now known as, and this is spoiler alert, so shut it off right now if you don't want to know it. They're known as the tag team The North.
Which I don't think that's a huge spoiler.
Yeah, it's not a huge spoiler because, whatever. People probably already know, and everybody knows Josh Alexander is part of the company now. But they're going to be a tag team. They're called The North. And they had a really, really good enhancement match. It was probably one of the best enhancement matches I've seen. A lot of the times when guys come off the indies, just sign with Impact, usually they're having competitive matches their whole career, and they don't know how to do like an enhancement match where they're just getting all their stuff in, right? And a lot of the times, when these guys come in, they give the opponent too much stuff when it's really the focus, the spotlight is you're getting over right now. You have to be the one. You're the superstar, so on and so forth. And a lot of times the wrestlers fail at this, and I've seen it time and time again. But these guys, the first time they went out there, they hit it out of the park, man. Like, it was an awesome enhancement match. They did exactly what they were supposed to do. And Saban was the agent for the match, and it was just one of the best enhancement matches I've seen in Impact in a long time.
You guys have, and by the way, I got to say, I hope I'm making TV in the coming weeks.
Yes, you were part of a vignette, weren't you?
Yes, so I won't spoil too much about it. Because,
okay, all right.
So
say spoiler alert if you're going to spoil it.
I'm not going to spoil anything. So I'm standing around, and the secret to being at any wrestling backstage is looking nice. If you show up wearing a wrestling shirt, they're going to usher you right out. If you look like you belong, you belong. So I always try to dress a little nice, right? I'm standing there, and our good friend Jeff, which we need to get him on the podcast. We keep saying this. So many great
definitely.
stories. Walks up to me and says, "Hey, you're well dressed. We need you for a restaurant scene." I said, "All right." So we're standing around catering, and there's probably 15, 20 of us. And we're standing around catering because we have to get some food to make it look like we're eating. And then everybody's like, why are these guys cutting in line in the catering? So they have to explain that they're not taking all the food. They're getting a little portion. So we all get it, and we all head to this little restaurant, and we're sitting there. And everybody has a date in the restaurant, right? Boy, girl. Except me and this other guy who I'm sitting there talking to, and he's like, I'm just trying to make it in the business. The story you hear backstage. And and I go, you know what we need to do? We need to set ourselves apart because we're the only couple here that is boy-girl or boy-boy. He goes, what do you think? And I said, maybe we should be a homosexual couple here. And he goes, you wouldn't do that. I go, I would absolutely play this. I am going to ham it up, right? And so we're sitting there, we're holding hands, and I'm looking lovingly into this guy's eyes. Beautiful eyes, by the way. So, yeah. So we're sitting there, and we start talking. And now, he's an African-American guy. I'm a white guy, and we're talking. And we're supposed to have chatter, but we're not, don't talk too loud, 'cause they're not going to really pick it up. Because we were at the last seats in the back by the window. And I go, I don't think people will accept our love. And he goes, I get it because the white and black thing. I go, no, because you're Canadian, I'm American, and I'm not sure my family. And now everybody around us can kind of hear us a little bit, and they're laughing. And I'm just going to say, I hope that makes it into Impact Television.
I hope it does too. You just never know what they're going to cut. I know Jeff was telling me that like Tessa threw a bunch of water on him, like multiple takes and stuff like that. So I can't wait to see it. Where did you guys film this? I know you said it was a restaurant scene.
Yes.
Was it upstairs, downstairs? What?
It was downstairs. If you go past the quad over by the security desk, there's actually a nice sit-down restaurant in the school. Like
by the Tim Hortons where we were at?
Yes, but on the other side. So it was a sit-down restaurant. It looked really nice, and we went in there and shot a few things. And I don't want to give any of it away because the concept is pretty cool, actually, for this vignette.
Yeah, I read it on the run sheet and stuff like that, and it's pretty cool. And don't want to give too much away, as well. But man, I'm so glad you got to make yet another. So you're always in a restaurant. It seems like. Remember, you played that bartender like a year ago.
I did, yes. For
yep, and now
for adventure.
That's right.
Yes,
and now you're getting to play. A guest at a restaurant. People are going to start catching on. So, but you know what? We have the pay-per-view coming up in Toronto with a set of TV tapings, and you know they're going to use you for some other sort of restaurant scene. They gotta. I mean, you're the guy for it.
I hope so. It'd be nice, because I think the first thing I tried to pitch myself for was kind of towards the end where, there was like a week or two where Sami Callihan went on this haircutting spree.
Yes, I remember that. Yeah.
And I tried to say, because you know what, I'm good for a good laugh. I tried to say, why don't I sit in the front row and have him pull me over and shave my head so it looks like he's going after fans? And I think that was like a week too late because they had kind of moved on from that aspect of the storyline. But boy, that would have been great.
Yeah, I remember them doing that hair cutting. They actually ended up cutting the hair of
Dave Christ.
Dave Christ. Before that, the head of like our ring crew. Mm-hmm. I think he just played like a civilian or whatever the case may be. Dave, they did, yep. Then eventually Sammy got his hair cut when he lost the Penta last anniversary. Yeah, I remember that.
So I'm hoping just hanging out, things like this, because that for me that's fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like so, and here's the thing, Dennis. Like when you first started coming to shows with me, you weren't like thinking like, oh, I'm going to be part of this show or whatever the case may be.
Never.
No, not at all. But then you're sitting there actually like doing nothing, or I shouldn't say nothing, just like mingling, shooting the breeze, whatever the case may be. And they come to you and say like, hey, you'd be great for this segment. Out of all the people they could pick, you'd be great for this segment. Come on. And they call you by name. So, I mean, and remember when you first got there this past weekend, people are like, hey, Dennis, how's it going? And you're like, hey, you, how's it going? And I'm the same way, Dennis. Like a lot of people are like, hey, good to see you again. I'm like, I don't remember names because I meet like 1,000 people a day or whatever the case may be. And it's hard to remember everybody's name. So people are coming up to you now, remembering you. Hey, you're Dennis Farrell. Like, hey, how's it going?
The best part is I'm standing there with Chris Sabin. By the way, Chris did something. A lot of times we show up to these shows with other wrestlers and they go off and do their thing. Sabin was one of the only guys, and it's workload, I get it, and it's not a knock on all those guys, but he was one of the only guys that would come back and hang out with me after he got done doing something. So I really appreciated that. But we got there, where him and I are standing there talking, and all of a sudden, all these people are coming up to me and saying hi and walking past Chris Sabin, and I'm like,
they didn't even know who he was.
I'm like, there's something wrong with this picture.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I gotta apologize, Dennis. Like, so here's the thing: when we're in like Vegas or like Mexico or wherever the case may be, I don't wrestle. Like, I just do the producing stuff, and I have a lot more downtime. When I'm at these Windsor shows or Toronto shows, since Scott's like adamant about using me because it's a Canadian audience, whatever the case may be, I have to wrestle and produce. And I remember like I'm in my wrestling gear. I just got done my match. The next match, I have to produce the match. I run in the truck, and Lance Storm is like, hey, I don't know how you do it, man. I couldn't wrestle and produce, man. Like, how do you? But it's second nature to me now because like I'm so used to that. That's what I do. So that's why like at these Windsor shows and Toronto shows, the ones that you're able to attend, I'm more busier than usual because I have to do both. And it sucks because, I don't get to hang out with you as much.
It was, and it's okay. I understand and I get it. And I'm becoming more familiar now. I can, like Sami Callihan comes up to me and asks to record something with me, which blew my mind. So now I'm starting to get a little comfortable where maybe you're busy, but I can go to someone I kind of know and be like, hey, would you record about 10 minutes with me? And that's kind of, we'll play the Sami thing a little bit later in the week, promoting Pancakes and Pile Drivers. But wow. So we got about everybody on our wish list. We got Rich Swann, Willie Mack, which Willie Mack, I just want to hug him. He is the most lovable, nervous guy I've ever met.
You know, and Willie, I really like Willie too. Like when I first met him and all that kind of stuff. Like, we'll talk about it when you play the interview and stuff like that. The first time I met him,
show,
I know we talk about it and stuff. But then I wrestled him that same night, and man, Willie is so funny. And when he's backstage, you know, he does swear, not a lot, but he swears. And I remember saying to him, and I don't know if you were there when I said it. Oh, you were there when I said it to him? I said, Willie, I'm like, you know, you want to do our podcast? He's like, yeah, man, sure. We'll just say he said, yeah, man, sure.
Right.
But he said a little bit more than that. And I said, yeah, the only thing is I'm like, you know, I'm like, don't swear, okay? And he's like, why? And I'm like, well, you know, I mean, we kind of have like a PG type feel for our podcast. You know, we know we have some kids that listen to our podcast and stuff. We like to keep it like, you know, family friendly and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, all right. And I didn't know how the interview was going to go. But Willie did a great job.
Amazing.
And he didn't swear once, man. And I was like, it was really weird interacting with Willie when he wasn't doing that. But man, Willie's so cool, man. Like I love watching him and his facial expressions. I think he's one of the best out there right now. He has a really bright future ahead of him.
He was so fun, and I loved talking to him, and I loved watching him because he was just nervous. And I don't know how many times he's been backstage now with Impact, but he came off like a little bit nervous, and I walked up to him and I said, look, I really appreciate everything you do. I've been a big fan of yours for about a year and a half now. You know, will you come do the podcast with Petey? Oh yeah, man, I'd love to. And I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And you know, Brian Cage came by and said hi to me. He probably doesn't know who I am, but still, that was kind of cool.
Yeah, no, and I mean, you know, I kind of want to do another interview with Willie and say, Willie, you're allowed to swear.
Yes.
Just to see how different it is, you know, and we'll just put a disclaimer out like beforehand. Like, so I'll tell you what, we're gonna have to get Jeff on on our show. Okay, so Jeff is Scott's like one of Scott's right hand man. He used to be a ref there. He actually plays Junk Food Jeff on 89X. It's on the radio. It's a morning show. And when he tells these stories, though, he swears. He does. But it adds to the story. Like, believe it or not, like, sometimes I hate when people swear because it just sounds like they're just swearing to put emphasis, like, and they don't have another verb that they could put in there. And it's very, like, I don't know. It just seems like, man, you could have used any other verb in there. But with Jeff, like, it adds to the story. And we're going to get Jeff on, and we're probably going to put a disclaimer or, like, we say, hey, you know, there's coarse language in this, so if you don't want to listen to it, don't listen to it. But you're probably going to need it for the story just to hear the emphasis on it. And we're going to have to get Jeff on, and it's going to be a great time.
The stories he has are amazing, and it's one right after the other, right after the other. Petey and I, we will do the intro, and that's the last time you'll hear from us.
Yeah, that's probably it. We'll say we'll do the intro. We'll say here's the disclaimer. We might say, hey, tell us a story about this, and he'll just have it lined up. Like when he's telling those Larry Destiny stories about being in California and stuff. I don't want to give anything away just in case he tells them, but he's definitely gonna come. We're gonna film it on Periscope and stuff just so you could see it, and it's gonna be a good time.
Some more questions here. Con wants to know, any news about a better TV deal?
No, I don't hear.
All right.
I mean, that's the short answer of it. I mean, we just signed with Pursuit. We're excited about that. We're on Twitch. I think that's a big thing we're pushing right now is on Twitch. I know I'm guessing the majority of our audience and fan base watches our show on Twitch just because it's easier to watch it than to find the Pursuit channel. I know I watch it on Twitch. That's how I watch it. So I haven't heard anything yet. I know like last night, Don Callis beat Kenny Omega 1-2-3 in the middle of the ring. So did you see that, Dennis?
No.
You didn't? No. On the internet?
No.
I guess they had a show in Winnipeg, some sort of local show, and Don Callis gave the code breaker to Kenny Omega and pinned him 1-2-3.
Well, congrats to Don Callis for that amazing.
I guess so, right?
Let's see here. So you may not have known this, but I guess either today or yesterday, Dave Meltzer on the show gave Impact its highest praise ever and says right now Impact is putting out a better show than Raw and SmackDown. What's your reaction hearing someone like Dave Meltzer give something like Impact, who doesn't really get kudos? Impact is one of these promotions that more than gets kudos, they still get knocked for past endeavors, I guess you would say, past infractions.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. It's so hard to wash that, I don't know what you call it, that stink off of you. Like, if you say the words TNA or Impact to somebody, if you say it to 20 people in a room that heard of it before, they're all going to have their own opinion on it. They're all going to remember something a little bit different. They're not going to say all the same thing. So, I mean, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, for the past year, we've been like consistently delivering a good product. It's just, it sucks because we've just like buried ourselves in the old regime, like so far down that it's hard to dig out of that. It really is. But it's good that somebody like Meltzer is noticing, like, hey, this product is pretty good, because I know they put a lot of thought into it. Jimmy Jacobs is like, man, he's so brilliant. I mean, I don't know if you're there when we do our production meeting, but you know, he's so good. Like, he's so good at what he does. And Scott just being able to put everything together. Same with Don, just, you know, you got Dreamer. It's a good product right now. It's just, it's too bad that a lot of people aren't giving it, I shouldn't say a second chance. It's more like a seventh chance. Because it's a really good show right now, and we have a lot of good talent, and man, it's really good. I wish a lot of people would give it our seventh chance, I guess you could say.
Tommy Dreamer's another guy that we tease a lot on the show for, you know, telling us he'll come on the podcast and then no-showing us. I wouldn't say no-showing us, but not getting back to us. But he's another one of those guys where I'll be standing there having a conversation, and he'll come up to me and like ask me baseball stuff, right? And between you and I used to do fantasy baseball for ESPN and all that stuff, and I'm a fan now of baseball. I hate to say the word casual watcher. I'll watch whenever I can, but I'm not as plugged in as I used to be. So now he'll be like asking me about like a third string minor league player, and I'm like, oh yeah, I've heard of him. Good guy. And they're like, what are you doing talking to me?
Here's the problem. Like, people know you because people ask me, what's Dennis's credentials? What are Dennis's credentials? Why do you like?
Demore asked you that recently.
Yeah. And I said, well, he used to work for ESPN, you know, the fantasy football, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So I think they think when they just hear the word ESPN, you know about all sports, you love all sports. Even though I say fantasy football, like clear as day, they think you know all sports. Yeah. So, and the thing is, Dennis, like I've heard you talk baseball with Scott Demore before, and you guys are talking about people that I don't even know exist. And you're like, yeah, I'm good friends with him, blah, blah, all this kind of stuff. So, you know, obviously Demore passes on that to Tommy Dreamer. Tommy Dreamer, who loves baseball, is like, oh, Dennis knows stuff about baseball. Okay, let's talk about baseball. It's like, not that you necessarily know stuff about baseball. You are friends with some people in that business. They assume you know everything. That's like saying, like, hey, you know everything about wrestling because you're friends with me and a couple other people in wrestling. No, absolutely not. But you know what? People are going to talk to you about wrestling.
Let's get to some more questions here. Do you have any idea if any new talent is coming?
Let's see. Well, I don't want to give anything away, but there was some debuts. I mean, I guess we already talked about Josh Alexander debuting, and they already announced him, but there's at least one more. I could think of two more that debuted in Windsor. There's a few more talent coming.
Now, they just recently announced Impact a partnership with OVW, right? Christopher Wilkes wants to know, will we see Impact moving wrestlers that's still with the company that can't get TV time to OVW?
That I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be the reverse, whereas Al Snow running the company is like, hey, this is like one of my best guys developmentally. You know, you want to give him a chance on TV, and we do that. I don't know if it's going to be the same thing where we like, hey, you know, let's we're going to send you down to OVW, and you're going to work on your skills, be off TV for a little while until we bring you back up. I don't know if it's going to be that way. But I'm assuming it's going to be like, hey, find these guys, develop them, and then we're going to put them on TV when they're ready.
Okay. Charles Brody wants to know, do you anticipate there being a joint show between Impact, AAA, and AEW, being that AEW's partnered with Impact and AEW? Not AEW, I said that all wrong, but you know, AAA.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised. That I don't know. But just looking ahead, social media yesterday when I saw Don Callis give Kenny Omega the code breaker in Winnipeg and pinning him, I'm like, wow, okay. You know, people are saying like a VP of Impact Wrestling just gave a code breaker and beat the VP of AEW. I'm like, oh, what's going on here? So, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of like cross promotional type thing.
I kind of agree with you. It's too early to tell what's going on.
Yeah, very, very too early. Right now, like I know AEW is focusing on their show coming up in May. That's going to be their main focus. And if there's cross promotional stuff in the meantime, great. I know the Bucks and other Cody and other AEW type talent is showing up on independent shows. It'd be interesting if they showed up on an Impact show. It really would.
Can we get the Bucks back on?
Man, you know, we need to. I haven't talked to them since that day, but you know, maybe if they're taking another hike to the Japanese consulate, maybe we get them on the podcast.
Yeah, now that they can openly talk about things, I think it'd be interesting because I like to think that I ask some pretty interesting questions that catch some of these guys by surprise. It's not like, you know, I guess I'd say that you wouldn't get asked on a normal wrestling podcast, you know?
Yeah, and I mean, these guys are getting paid, you know, big money. If I had to guess, it's probably like $1.5 million or something like that. Like they're getting paid some big money right now. And when we first had them on the podcast, AEW wasn't even announced yet. I think they just filed for the trademark like the day prior. And we asked like, hey, should we ask about that? And they were like, yeah, I think it'd be weird if you didn't ask about it. Yes. So, and obviously they couldn't talk about it. And now, you know, they are where they are. So
it'll be interesting to see if we can get them back on and ask questions. And I gotta say, talking to Eli Drake, wow, the one question we get asked a lot now since the Eli Drake interview, and I'll ask you, and both of us, I guess we're gonna have to play Guess the Future. Does Eli Drake stay with Impact or does he go? Because he was very, you know, down the middle and wouldn't show his hands with our interview. But your feelings, does he stay or does he go?
You know, that's a great question. And, you know, just so you know how my relationship is with Eli, I mean, I don't say much to Eli. Like, you know, I say hi, bye. We're very, and I alluded to that on the podcast. I said, we don't have, you know, like a personal relationship. I'd say we have a really good professional relationship. And I know him and I both enjoyed our match together. We respect each other professionally. That's where we stand. Does he stay? That is, would I like to see him stay? Like in my heart, yes, absolutely. You and I talk about it all the time. Like he's one of the coolest guys portrayed on television. Like he's got that going for him. Like he's just a cool dude. You know, the funny thing is, I know he talks about like, and a lot of people talk about like, you know, he wasn't used right and all that kind of stuff. Well, here's the thing about pro wrestling. Let's just take the Dean Ambrose, you know, so everybody can relate to it. Dean Ambrose said to WWE, or as it stands right now, I'm not re-signing with you guys, or I haven't re-signed with you guys. So what's happening to him right now? They know he's a big star. they're having their future big stars beat him on their television show. So it's the same thing. Like, when Eli at the time, we didn't know Eli was going to re-sign with us or anything like that, do that contract extension. So who are we going to build up? Well, Joe Hendry's coming in. Let's have him feud. And then Joe Hendry beats him, all that kind of stuff. And then Eli's like, yeah, I want to re-sign with you guys. Okay, well then Eli's back on top. He's beating guys again, that kind of thing. That's just how the business runs. I mean, you're not going to have somebody keep beating your guys all the way out the door if you don't know that they're committed to the company. You're not going to put them over. I mean, that's just regular business economics. That's how you do things. So right now, I mean, I don't know if Eli's going to stay. I really don't.
If I had,
what did he say? End of May, or was it
May 31st? May 31st is the end of his contract.
Okay.
If I had to guess, I think he's gone. I don't think he goes to WWE because, he'll go to NXT. He's 36, and he'll, that's just a waste of his time. I'm not sure if he goes to AEW. With the roster they have, I'm worried that he would be in the same position where he is now.
Where's he going?
I don't know. Maybe he rides the independent circuit. But he's too good not to be on TV. Here's my other question. Does Impact even want to pay him the kind of money? Look, Impact is going to more, company-friendly contracts, right? We all know it. It's not a secret. They've been letting all these high-price contracts go from the old regime. Eli signed an extension, but in my mind, he wasn't probably used right for the money he was getting paid. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of. I know he or you don't feel like he was used right, but if you look at it, like, you got the main storyline of the World Championship of, like, Brian Cage, Killer Crush, Johnny Impact, whatever the case may be. And then you have, what's the next main storyline? Well, it's Eli Drake, pretty much. I mean, if you don't include the female wrestlers or whatever the case, Eli Drake's always going to be there, and he's going to be a main part of the show. Would I like to see him re-sign? Absolutely. I think that he could be like, and he was at one point like the world champion. He could be the world champion of this company. They can easily, after this next pay-per-view, put Eli Drake right, like they could have him beat, I don't want to give anything away, but
the
next person he's feuding with, and then put him right back in the title picture. It's that easy. It just depends. It depends what they want to do. I mean, that's between Impact and Eli Drake, and I hope he stays. He said on our podcast, he's comfortable with the money he's making. So, does it come down to a money thing? I'm not sure. Maybe he wants to make so much more and not wrestle. I don't know what his goals are. I really don't. He didn't allude to those on our podcast. He didn't make it seem like he was unhappy with Impact. I think he's just more about, he wants to be involved in some good storylines and just let his character flourish, I guess.
I think you hit the nail on the head that if he leaves Impact, I don't think it's a money thing unless someone offers him more money, which easily could probably happen. Depending, there's a handful of companies out there that might be able to do that, but I think it's an opportunity at 36. His bump cards, he's only has so many left, and does he want to be doing what he's doing now, or does he want to be the head of a company? I'd like to think that he could go to AEW and do that, but if you look at that, the roster right now, I don't know if he could walk in there and be the head of that company behind Omega, Jericho, the Bucks.
That's it. Like, they might have him as in that mix, but he's not going to be the guy winning or anything like that. So he's, stuck in the same spot. And, is he going to have, there's so much stuff to think about. Like, in AEW, I personally feel since like Cody's a VP and Kenny Omega's a VP and the Bucks a VP, he's not going to get bigger than them. He just won't, because they're the VPs. That's just how I feel about things. They're going to be the guys that the company is going to be centered around. And, if you go to WWE, you got to start at NXT, work your way up. Like, I mean, he's 36, like you said. Who knows? I feel like Impact is his best spot. But, I mean, it's ultimately, it's going to be his decision. That's what it's going to come down to.
Let me ask you this. As of this recording, so I don't give anything away, where are we at with the Johnny Impact storyline? Has anything major happened yet?
Yeah, I believe I'm trying to think. He turned.
Okay, so that's all I need to know. That's all I need to know. Can I say from this set of tapings, the heel Johnny Impact is phenomenal. Amazing. Yeah. The one match we saw, I'm not going to say anything, phenomenal. You have to watch it, guys, if you're out there. This is the best heel work I've seen in years out of a wrestler. Phenomenal.
Yeah, so Johnny Impact, I mean, he played a heel on WWE TV for many years. Seeing him as a babyface to me is kind of odd because I don't feel like he's portrayed as a babyface, his character, but his moveset, like, he's total babyface. But yeah, I mean, he's gonna be good. I don't think a lot of people were expecting that he was gonna do that heel turn, so that's
phenomenal.
Yep. I know Scott was mad at me. I don't want to give anything away, but we kind of filmed out of order. The Impact tapings, we filmed something, that's not going to air for many weeks. We filmed it like one of the first things we did, and then we messed up. Or Scott didn't mess up. Like, I messed up, and I said, yeah, we did this, and he's like, yeah, but this didn't happen yet. And I'm like, oh, crap, I didn't know that because even though we filmed it yesterday, it didn't happen yet and all this kind of stuff. So a lot of confusion when you film out of order. It's hard to keep everything in order, like in all these like little minute details. And, yeah, I mean, I remember Scott being really upset about it. And, I apologized to him. But, I mean, what can you do? What's done is done.
Before we get to the Willie Mack interview, which I'm excited for, one of my favorites, I have to say, once again, we get there. I'm excited. I think this is the tapings we're finally going to be able to do something with Impact, and we're still waiting around. I even shaved for that, Pete. So, I even shaved.
Yeah, I know, and I'm kind of upset because I really thought we were going to do something on Twitch. I really did, and then D'Amore hit the line that was like, we need to sit down and talk. Like, so thank you everybody for tweeting D'Amore and getting them yeah, you guys, need to have these guys on Twitch, like these guys meaning me and Dennis on Twitch. But it's at the point where Scott, recognizes us now finally, but it's also at the point where Scott's like, well, where do we go from here? That's great that the people want to see you guys on Twitch, but now what do we do? So now it's more of a logistics thing. And of course, when, Scott says, hey, let's sit down and talk, we're not going to be able to talk during the Impact tapings because there's so much other stuff going on. I knew that was going to happen. So that's more of hurry up and wait. Like, I don't know what's going to happen with that, but thank you so much, everybody that listens and has been, tweeting Scott and all that all that stuff. Scott's finally taken notice. Now it's just a logistic thing.
Now, can I get you to text him and set up a dinner date?
Yeah, we're gonna have to do that.
Yeah, because he's not coming here. We're gonna have to go to him.
Should I invite him with Jeff? No, I want Jeff solo.
Right. Yeah, Jeff solo.
Yeah, Jeff solo, because he's going to have some stories that are going to be great, and I know the people are going to love them. But, I mean, maybe we need to invite Scott up and be like, hey, man,
come
this is what we are. Yeah.
Do you think he can show up? Does he know where America is?
Yeah, he does. I don't know if here's the thing, Dennis. I don't know if we have to be like, yeah, this is how we're going to do it, and this is what's going to work. Or like, I think that's what maybe he's waiting for. I really do. Like, I think this whole Twitch thing is like, it's a newer type of concept, and doing a video podcast. That's a newer type of concept too. I think it just really comes down to a logistic thing that I just think nobody has any ideas for. And I think we're going to have to be the ones that are be like, this is how we're going to do it. This is why it's going to work. Let's do it. And I think we just have to stick to our guns.
I think we do it the same way we do this. It's you and I sitting around talking, and I'd rather it be audio, and then they can put up some graphics over us if we have guests and stuff, and then, send them the audio. I don't know if I really wanted, because you're not going to come out to my house, and I'm not going to come out to your house once a week. It's just, unrealistic.
I agree, but I when we're doing the tapings, I would like to do some Twitch content. I really would. Like being like, hey, this is a special for us. We have whatever. Eli Drake here. Let's do this podcast via Twitch.
I would love to. That like I said, that's my dream gig right now, is to do something even on Twitch. And I feel like we've leapt several hurdles that have been in our way, and bypassed some hurdles, and we're making headway.
Yeah, no, I mean, we're definitely noticed. Impact knows about us, and
some of them.
I definitely feel like they want us. It's just, again, it comes down to how do we do this without making it seem like we're just doing it because.
What about a conference call?
What's that?
What about a conference call with Scott? That seems more reasonable.
Set up a conference call with Scott?
Yeah.
I guess that's how we have to get to him. I guess you're right, Dennis.
Now, the next order of business, because I like to handle the stuff out in the open in front of the fans, Pete.
Yeah.
WrestleMania weekend's coming up. I'm having a WrestleMania party, which I'm giddy about. Did you see my banner?
Yeah, and it's going to be good.
Yeah. So, do we do any? Should this just be a party and let's enjoy ourselves, or should we break out the Periscope and do something?
I
think we have a party and we leave it at that.
Yeah, I think we have a party, leave it at that, and then we just talk about it on the podcast.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to Periscope it. I just want to enjoy it and not have to. And then we could we'll say recap. We can recap it
because I'm excited. This is kind of turning out to be a who's who event because you'll be there.
I remember it used to be my WrestleMania party and you stole it from me, so now it's your party. Okay,
I did, and you can cry if you want to
because it's my party.
Yep, you lost a loser leaves town match.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I like not hosting the party. I started doing it because I wanted the people, that liked wrestling to come together. But I'm like, man, it's WrestleMania. When I first started doing it, WrestleMania was always done before midnight. Then it started creeping past midnight. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. I don't want you guys in my house anymore. Get out of here. So now it's great that I can go to somebody else's house and be like, hey, I'm going to leave 3 matches before the main event and just, see ya. And I don't have to worry about all that other kind of stuff, kicking people out of my house. So, thanks Dennis for taking it over.
I did take Monday off of work. So I'm going to stay up and watch the whole thing. And there's always going to be the 1 or 2 people that won't leave. So I'm anticipating that. And I think you'll be one of the first people to leave if I have to put my money on it.
I would say you're probably right, so I'm not going to bet you on that.
No, yeah. So you will probably be the first one to leave, and then there'll probably be a handful of people that will all leave around the same time, and I'm going to guess that's about match 4 or 5.
4 or 5? I think there's 13 matches. I want to say you're going to have people there up until probably 11ish, maybe a little bit 11:30, because normally that's when the pay-per-views would normally end back in the day.
Okay.
11 o'clock. People a lot of their time till 11 o'clock. But now it's people are going to be I'll stay for one more match, and then they'll leave after 11 o'clock.
We'll have plenty of food, veggie tray. Now, do we get pizza or subs?
Pizza.
Okay. All right. I'm just trying to figure things out. We'll have plenty of beer. I almost toyed with the idea of charging everybody, making people bring either a 6-pack or bourbon to get into the party, but that's like
you could still do that. I mean, why not, right? I remember my first WrestleMania party. It was the first year where no, I'm sorry, I had a party before the network was on the air, but then as I was going on when we had the network, like other people that had the network, they still came to the party. And I'm like, why are you coming to the party? Like, you already have the network. And like, I just come for the food and stuff like that and to hang out. Because, I mean, it's not about the show. It's about, like, hanging out with other people that like wrestling.
And that's it. I'm not inviting any non-wrestling fans because the one thing I don't want is for someone to be like, who's that guy? Why is he doing that? Well,
that's like when my wife comes down and delivers, like, the tray of goodies and she's like, who is this? Who's that? Is John Cena on yet? I'm like, get out of here,
Yep.
Just because she knows nothing about wrestling. So yeah, wrestling fans that you don't have to explain what wrestling is to them. That's who we enjoy.
So doors open at 6. That's what we've agreed on, right?
Yep, free tickets at the door.
Yeah, but you can come as early as you want because you're Petey Williams.
All right, I'll probably come at 6, 7.
Whoa. Wow, fashionably late.
Yeah.
But yeah, and, I'm excited. So thank you. This has been a fun podcast. I can't wait. Willie Mack, Pete. Willie Mack.
Willie Mack, one of my favorites. I wish he was in WrestleMania, man. I'd love that.
Oh, no, you wouldn't because then Impact would lose him.
Yeah, then he wouldn't be on Impact. But whatever. I mean, I wish everything was just a cross-promotion that didn't care about contracts or anything like that. Just that's how good Willie Mack is. That's how much I love him.
I do too. All right, Pete. In about for you, the listener, it will be like instantaneous. But for me and Pete, we're gonna hang up and have a conversation and gossip about what we just gossiped about, and then I'll cut it up and put it on. But hang on, because here comes Willie Mack. Petey Williams, Dennis Farrell back here, Wrestling Perspective. Pete, our next guest. Tell me the story. Because listen, I've been a Willie Mack fan for a long time now, about a year or so. And when I first said, hey, he signed with Impact, let's get him on our podcast, you're like, you know what? I got a great story about Willie Mack.
I did?
Yeah, you were talking about how he came up to you and said that he had taken the bus to see one of your shows.
Yeah, I think that one of the first times I actually met Willie. Well, first, let me introduce Willie. Everybody, Willie Mack. Welcome, Willie.
What's up? How y'all doing?
So one of the first interactions I had with Willie was House of Hardcore. I think it was maybe his first show there. And he came up to me and he started talking. And he was like, hey, man, I remember, you from PWG.
Yep.
And I was like, okay, I'm trying to think, Willie, when did he wrestle for PWG? And then I'm like, oh, when was this? He's like, man, I was sitting in, I'd take the bus and I was sitting in that back row or whatever, watching you or whatever the case may be. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I guess we're friends then. I guess that's pretty much how it went. Is that how it went?
Pretty much. I used to show up to every PWG show when they was at the little spot in Los Feliz, the little sweatbox gym.
Was it the Jewish Community Center?
Yep.
That one, JCC, yeah.
That one right off Hollywood or Sunset Boulevard, one of them. And yeah, I met you. You had the long hair back then, and Saban and AJ and everybody else was always there. And I met y'all, and you were some cool folks. And now, years later, I ended up wrestling you.
And we did wrestle that night. That was the first time we actually wrestled. And now you're like, what, House of Hardcore champion, right? Ish?
Basically.
I'm
the TV champ, but I'm the only champion, so I guess I run the house.
Yeah. So I got to ask you then. You're one of the few people that we've talked to that talk openly now about, I was a fan. I've been in these rows. A lot of guys are like, I haven't. I was working out and I got into wrestling. It was an outlet to make money. So what was the tipping point? What was the point where you're sitting in there, you go, you know what? I'm going to do this.
Well, found out where a wrestling school was, and instead of sitting on the couch watching the wrestling, I said, I'm going to go out there and do it. Because it's like coming from where I was at the hood, you ain't got much around you. You either can play football, basketball, or some kind of sports activity, be a rapper or something like that. I'm like, nah, I'm going to be a pro wrestler. We travel, make money, and put smiles on people's faces, and that's what I like to do.
Do you still geek out when you see guys backstage like, oh my gosh, that's Petey Williams, or are you above that now?
Oh, you ain't never above it. Hell, if it's somebody I like coming up as a kid or even now, I'll still be like, hey, what's up, man? It's nice to finally meet you. It's because it's like Nobody's really different from you. We all breathe, we all eat, we all sleep, we get hurt, so we just about the same.
Yesterday, Pete, I walk up to him. He's standing there just hanging out. I think he's probably even listening to music. I'm like, I got to tell you, I'm a big fan. I'm like geeking out over him, right? Trying to be still professional, trying to slip in, hey, will you do my podcast? One of those things. And part of me wanted to be like, dude, you're a national treasure. I just want to hug you.
Yeah. So, Willie, we talk about you, and it's not just me and Dennis. It's everybody around. Obviously, you're not backstage watching your matches because you're actually out there performing them. Yeah. So when we're watching, like, man, Willie, we love that guy, man. Like, you have a different reaction from everybody else than you have this something about you, like with your facial expressions.
You glow.
And all that. Yeah,
you glow, and you can tell that you love what you're doing. You see a lot of guys out there, and they're either playing characters and can hide it well, or they just don't care. But you care, and we can tell.
Yeah, and I mean, and you are like, you're on a rise up, obviously, and I never really seen you have ever pretty much like a bad attitude or anything. You see a lot of bad attitudes in wrestling. What keeps you like humble and like level headed?
Well, just knowing it's a lot of things that go in it to get to this point. I had to go through a lot of things, and it's like pretty much never forget where you came from, and just treat everybody the way you want to be treated, and keep going about it that way. If somebody need a helping hand in the back, I'm sure if somebody need a seat, I'll give it up to them. It's just like keeping that kind of mentality, because at the end of the day, we all still people.
So a lot of people get that from like the school they went to, like the wrestling facility, and who trained them. Like who brought you up and mentored you up the way?
Too many people.
Too many people.
It's a bunch of people.
Well,
like Aaron Aguilera.
Oh yeah, I know Aaron.
T.J. Perkins.
Oh yeah,
Rocky Romero, Joey Ryan.
Who's who?
Martine Marine, Little Cholo. Too many people. It's a bunch more. I can't really. Carl Anderson a little bit.
Oh yeah.
Alex Kozlov.
Okay.
And I'm forgetting somebody. I know it's one more I'm forgetting. I know they're going to get mad at me about it, but hey, I had too many people help train me, so that's what happens.
As a fan going to shows, how do you build the Willie Mack character? I mean, you have to have been sitting there even before the first day of training going, I want to be A, B, C, and D, or I want to structure the character I'm going to play like this. We all do it. I still do it today when I pretend that I want to be a wrestler at 41. What were some of the traits or the characteristics that you want to build into who you are becoming now on TV?
It was just me watching wrestling as a kid. You knew what you liked. You knew you liked to see the high-flying stuff from the cruiserweights, the hard-hitting from the heavyweights, some of the striking and stuff from the Japanese folks. So I kind of looked at all that and like mixed it all into one, because I didn't want to just be like one style of person. I want to mix everything that I've learned into one package, and that's me pretty much. And I ain't really no character. I'm just being me. It's like when you out there in the ring, it's you with the volume turned all the way up. So I'm just like this 24/7 pretty much, and I just do it in front of people instead of just by myself at home.
I see people give you adulation, and you almost become boy-like sometimes, where it makes you feel uncomfortable. Maybe is this something that you're working on? Like fans coming up to you, and you hear a lot of famous people talk about how they can't adjust to that kind of lifestyle. How do you, as a regular person, adjust to now? You're sitting at Arby's or Burger King, and like 3 people come up like, Willie Mack, oh my gosh, I love you. How do you adjust or grow off that?
I just take it for what it is. I'm like, I know how it was when I was a fan. You run into your favorite entertainer or whatever it is, and you want to like go up to him. Like I'll still go up to him and just be like, "What's up?" and just go on about my business. So like when people come up to me, it ain't no big thing. I just be like, "All right, let me take a bite of this sandwich real quick and wipe my hands with this napkin, and I'll sign the picture or take an autograph or anything you want."
See, that's what happened to us. Now, I wasn't going to tell you this story on the air, but I go pick up Petey at his house yesterday. I'm at Burger King, and this guy comes up. I'm wearing my Impact hoodie, and he's like, are you an Impact fan? I go, yeah, absolutely, man. I get to hang out with these guys. I live life. And we're talking. He's like, do you know Petey Williams? I'm like, absolutely, I know Petey. He goes, have you ever listened to his podcast? Now, this is happening. I go, yeah, I co-hosted with him. That's you? And so I'm talking to this guy, and he's like, oh, man, I love your hoodie. I wish I could get one. I'm like, Go online and get one. He's like, oh, man, I don't have that kind of money. I take it off and give it to him.
And guess what? He didn't even get like a free burger in return.
No, but I know what you mean by somebody comes up to you and they're a fan. You want to be what they hope you are.
Yeah, and I mean, I've always done that too, and like, and I don't care if I'm eating or whatever. I know some wrestling, wrestlers are like, oh, wait till I'm done eating and come back or whatever. I'll stop because I always put myself in their shoes and say like, if I was a kid coming up to, I remember do you remember the first wrestler you actually ever met? I remember I met Tito Santana. That was the first like pro wrestler I ever met. I was a kid, and I couldn't imagine if he were to blow me off, that would have turned me away from wrestling forever. But do you remember like the first wrestler you actually ever met?
Yeah, Human Tornado.
The Human Tornado.
Yep. Back when I first started going to
What was your interaction with him? I know Human Tornado. I've wrestled him.
It was cool. It was just he was outside just chilling, smoking his Black and Mild, and I was like, oh, it's the Human Tornado. You gonna go out there and kick some butt tonight? He's like, hell yeah, brother. You gonna be in the crowd? I'm like, yeah. He's like, all right, then I'll see you there. I was like, cool. That made me happy because he was the hottest thing going for a while.
Yeah, no, he was. I remember he had he would no sell the nut shot.
Yep.
Because he's got
balls of steel.
Balls of steel. That's what it was. And then he'd do the pimp slap right after that. All stuff you can't do now. But I mean, I guess you can do it. But so it was like guys like that inspiration to you. Like I noticed your finishing move is the Stone Cold Stunner.
Yep.
Is he like one of your favorites? Was that your era that you watched growing up? Like was that your like if you had to go back and watch wrestling, or what really got you involved in wrestling? Was it that Attitude Era with Stone Cold and them?
Yeah, it was the old school like Hulk Hogan, Warrior, Macho Man, all them, and then all of Stone Cold came along, and The Rock and Shawn Michaels. So Stone Cold was like, he connected with people because who didn't want to beat up their boss?
Oh yeah, everybody.
He got to do that every week and not get in trouble for it.
Wow.
Well, and he got arrested sometimes, but he came back and he beat him up again.
I don't think it's on his record though, guys.
Yeah, probably
it's
not.
expunged. What does Willie Mack do when Willie Mack's not a wrestler?
Willie Mack sits at home, plays video games, and catch a couple movies on Netflix or Hulu.
Wait, video games now. I'm not a very good video game nerd, but I am one. What do we play? What's your
Overwatch?
See, I just got it. Are you you're a PS4 guy then?
Yep.
Oh my gosh, Petey, do you think I can ask him to video game with me?
Yeah, I mean, when we get offline, I get a screen name and stuff like that. Play some Overwatch. I don't even know what Overwatch is.
Don't worry.
Okay.
You just stand there and be
We'll
Canadian.
okay, all right.
All right.
I don't play the video games. The video games,
See, here's the thing. I got Overwatch to play with Chris Sabin. I'm like, because Chris and I are slowly becoming friends. And Sabin's like, I have a PS4, but the only game I play is Overwatch. I'm like, all right, I'll go get it. I go out, I get it, and I start playing this. And now you'll appreciate this because I'm a little bit older than you, I'm going to guess. So I'm playing this game mode. If you the training where it's like 5 regular people versus 5 computer people.
Oh,
yeah.
Player versus PI?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. So I'm in this mode playing it, and I'm beasting people. 17, 18, 19 kill streak. And I have my headset on. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm a natural. This is the first time I played. I'm killing you guys. And I hear this voice, how sometimes you hear a guy plugs in and does goes, hey, idiot, you're playing against a computer. And then it's like, the deflated, like, kick in the balls. Like, I want to hang up and just go cry in the corner.
Are you pretty good at Overwatch, Willie, would you say?
I guess so.
Oh.
Are you, like, ranked? I mean, how does this – I don't even know how it works. I guess I shouldn't be asking these questions because people are probably like, Petey, you're such an idiot.
Old man Canadian.
Yeah, I guess old man Petey.
Yeah, they got, like, regular mode, which is, like, quick play games. You can just get in there and play with people. And then they got competitive mode where, like, you can rank up. Right now I'm at platinum level, and that's 27,000 points.
Jesus.
You got to get – and I'm right.
What are you at, Dennis? Hold on. What are you at?
4.
4 points?
Yeah, baby.
Okay. 27,000 from Willie.
You need a nerdy sidekick or anything? Because that's about all I can do.
Maybe if you want to join.
I do.
Me and a bunch of other folks be playing, and it's pretty cool when you got like a good squad.
Because the talk. It's more than the game. It's hanging out with your buddies.
Yep.
Thank you.
Like my homie in Australia play with us. Another homie in Japan plays with us. Mexico. Like we all different parts of the world, and we just together on a video game just talking like we right next to each other and having fun.
Do you think they'd accept my bad gameplay? I'll let them make fun of me all they want.
Maybe a few of them probably carry you, though.
I'm good with that. That's what I do best is be carried. All right. Willie, where can people find... Oh, Pete, wait. Pete.
Yeah, this is my thing. Willie, all right, where can people find you, find your T-shirts, merchandise, all that kind of stuff, social media?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter and Instagram. My username is Willie_Mack.
I follow him.
And then you could go on Pro Wrestling Tees, pick up some of my shirts. I got pets to feed, so that would help me out a bunch.
Pets? You got pets?
Yeah, I got what do I got?
Parrot?
A gerbil.
A gerbil?
2 turtles, 3 cats, a dog, and a bearded dragon.
Jesus, I'm hanging out with We Bought a Zoo over here.
Well, yeah, I got a lot of pets to feed. And then where else can you catch me? I'm on Twitch, too. I think my Twitch name is Willie Mack 87. I got a Snapchat. I forgot that. My PSN is easy. It's Willie Mack 1. So, yeah, there we go with that.
Sure.
And what else do I need? That's about it. I think I got everything covered.
Social Security number?
Social Security number?
Facebook is Willie Mack. And my Facebook fan page is official Willie Mack because I got too many friends and I can't add people, so y'all gonna have to check up on that. I put updates whenever I can, wherever I'm at in the month. And yeah, that's how people can find me.
Can I ask you one more question?
Go ahead.
First big break, you're on TV. What do you do? Do you go back and watch your match over and over again on TV? Do you geek out? Can you talk? Because I love you as a success story, right? Mm-hmm. And I love you as a character, and I can only imagine you rushing home afterwards, DVRing it, whatever night it comes on, and just watching it back and back.
Turtles, gerbil, cats, dog. Like, check this out. Daddy's on TV.
Like that. I made it moment.
Like, at first, I still don't really like to watch my matches because it's like you in there, people talking about how fast you moving and how this look, how that look. When you go back and look at yourself, you be like, I don't look like I'm going too fast. I look like I'm going slow.
Yeah, you're your own worst critic, yeah.
And I'll be like, and other people are like, no, it was great. What you talking about, man? People liked it. I'm like, oh, okay. So I know it's probably good matches, but like when I watch them, I just kind of like judge myself, be like, I could have did that better. But sometimes you got to watch your own stuff just to kind of know the next time you're in the ring what to do and what not to do. And what moves to try out and what not to try out.
I completely understand your own worst critic. But, Willie, thanks so much for stopping by, and I look forward to watching you tonight.
Oh, sweet. Thanks for having me on.
All right, that was Willie Mack. Thank you, Willie Mack, for sitting down and talking to Petey Williams and myself. Guys, don't forget, head over to WrestlingPerspectivePodcast.com. Make sure you subscribe. You can click on the pictures, get to wherever you get your podcast. We're on iTunes and Stitcher and Spotify and all that stuff. So hopefully you will go support us. If you get your podcast off Podbean, we're right there. Make sure you like and share and tell a friend. That is one of the most important things to help our show grow. We keep trying to do fun and innovative stuff for you guys, and you guys are responding very well. So thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Pete had to go. He couldn't wait for this part. So I really appreciate each and every one of you guys downloading and listening and tweeting and being a part of the show. So thank you. Thank you to Impact Fan Nation on Facebook for allowing us to post and get questions. We're not like part of them, but they have been very amazing opening their doors to us. So more important, subscribe to the podcast. Let us know you're listening. And if you're inclined, head over to Blue Chew. Help us out. Use the promo code Perspective. It'll only cost you $5. You go through and you know how to do the computer thing. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys. If you ever need a shout out or anything like that, Petey and I are more than happy. You just follow us at Petey Williams on Twitter, me at Dennis77 Farrell, Farrell. There we go, Dennis77 Farrell. There you go on Twitter. Wrestling Perspective Podcast on Facebook. You can be part of the community there. So hopefully you enjoy the week leading up to WrestleMania. We'll put up some more stuff for you to have some fun with. We really appreciate it, and have a good week.